around the state. Companies are moving here, tourists are coming, and the state's staying busy. I'll be glad to answer any questions anybody has.
Governor, where does this proposal with the cabinet and the Sunshine Training address the issue and the allegation of aides talking behind the scenes and potentially violating the law?
I think we have a good process. What's important to me is we have a predictable, transparent process to review, what our expectations of our agencies are, and then review the management. And that's what we're doing.
Can you talk about the Medicaid expansion plan?
The students. All right. This is, as you know, I'll say it again.
I was wondering if you're a fan of it.
All right. First off, this is as we all know, this is the second week of session. There's a lot of things that are being proposed and will be proposed. What I'm excited about with regard to Medicaid is the fact that in 2011, we did historic Medicaid reform. If you go back to where we were in 2000, when I became governor, this state couldn't afford the Medicaid program. The Medicaid program that we had was growing at 3 times our general revenue, which was making it very difficult to pay for it. We now have a program that our taxpayers can afford, and our citizens that are on Medicaid or have somebody that's responsible for their care.
The governor program hasn't saved money, Governor. The Medicaid reform has not saved any money.
I think the process that we've gone through with the 2011 and the waiver we get, the reform we did in 2011, and the waiver we got from the federal government has absolutely worked.
Governor, this timetable on the hirings and firings has extended now. You're going to have the ghost of Jerry Bailey a little bit, who's been hanging over this cabinet for a long time. Are you disappointed with the way this has turned? Would you like to have seen a faster pace?
Oh, I think we had a good conversation today about a process. And I think we'll continue to work through, we're starting with 3 agencies, and we'll continue to work through those agencies, and I think we're going to have a great process.
Governor, were you aware that scientists were being told not to speak about climate change, and will scientists in the future be able to speak about climate change in the business?
Sure. Well, first off, that's untrue. At our Department of Environmental Protection, there's lots of conversations about this issue. From my standpoint, like every issue, my goal is, instead of talking about it, let's do something about it. So in the last 4 years, we've put money in beach renourishment with regard to flood mitigation, settled a decades-old lawsuit over the Everglades, historic funding to deal with the water quality, the Tame Island Trail, raising that, historic funding for our springs. So my goal is to continue to make progress.
Do you need to make it clear bill the Senate's going to take up today reaches your desk? Would you sign it?
I haven't reviewed the bill, but look, this is the second week of session. We're going to see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of things that are going to be discussed over the next few weeks.
Can you talk about the low income pool? Last year when it was up for renewal, you all submitted a proposal in November. It's now March and there's nothing from the state to the federal government. Why is that?
Well, first off, the Agency for Healthcare Administration has been working with HHS to make sure we have a program that continues. But let's remember the facts here. This is a federal program. This is not a state program. This is a federal program. The federal government can decide if they want to continue their program or not. I'd be very disappointed in individuals like Senator Nelson if they don't make sure that this continues. This program is to take care of those that can't afford their own health care, and I'll be extremely disappointed if Senator Nelson doesn't help make sure this continues.
What about Senator Rubio then? Would you be disappointed in him?
I'll be disappointed in the federal government if they start a program like this for low-income individuals and don't continue it.
Governor, piggybacking on that, you have a broad tax cut coming up. If we lose LIP funding, what impact does that have on your tax cut?
Let's go back. LIP is a federal program. They can decide if they want to continue that federal program or not. My job is to continue to turn around the state. We now have a budget surplus. We're going to reduce taxes by $673 million. We're going to have historic funding for K-12 education. We have a very good college affordability bill, so I'm going to continue to focus on those things.
If the federal government cancels the LIP program, you're going to have a lot of hospitals here in the state facing financial problems. I mean, doesn't that become a state problem then?
I'll be very disappointed if the federal government doesn't continue a program they started to take care of low-income individuals. Our Agency for Healthcare Administration is continuing to work with HHS to make sure this continues, and I'll be very disappointed if it doesn't.
Would you see Medicaid expansion or some version of that as a possible solution if LIP funding were to be dramatically reduced?
LIP is completely separate from Medicaid expansion. If you go look at Texas, go look at California, One expanded Medicaid and one didn't, and both of them are getting significantly more dollars under LIP than what Florida's getting today or ever gotten. So those things are not even tied.
All right, last question.
Governor Scott, you've hired Pete Dunbar, you've hired 2 or 3 other outside attorneys in this town to represent you in the ongoing litigation by news organizations alleging a sunshine law violence. Do you want to see this case go to trial, or would you be in favor of settling this case to avoiding any further embarrassment?
I think you have to go talk to Tim Serio.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
have a great day.